thank you so much for being here today. Super pumped to have you. I'm excited to get into, what you have to share and some of these questions that I'm gonna be asking you. It's definitely gonna impact me. I can tell already. Um, I'm trying some of your drink now. I'm a Celsius guy myself, Red Bull guy
Yeah.
myself. And you called me out on a call. You were like, "Is that Celsius you're drinking?" This is actually pretty good. I'm excited to find out more about what you got going on here. But
Yeah.
I'll have you just introduce yourself. Let people know who you are and what
Yeah.
it is that you do.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much for having me on. Like,
Hmm.
this is truly a privilege. So I'm super excited to be here. I do own a gym up in Monument, Colorado called Full 30 Fit. Been there about 2 years as a gym owner. Been coaching there since 2019, the beginning of 2019. And just love the people. So when the owners were going to shut the doors, I was like, man, I can't let that happen. And I have all this background as an integrative health practitioner. And so my goal is really to help people see their own self value and their own
Mm.
self worth,
Yeah.
and to feel their very best so they can be their best to pour into their families
Mm.
and to live out the calling on their life.
It's
And
so
so
good.
it's so hard, and it's everything. It's not just fitness, it's not just sleep, it's not just your spirituality. It's everything all combines together, your nutrition. So really teaching people how to tap into that and helping them to recognize they are worth investing in.
Mm.
People are counting on them.
Mm.
So,
That's good.
yeah.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, I want to kind of get into, and this first bit will be around the gym. What inspired you to open Full 30 Fit?
What inspired me really to take over was the people in the community. You can go to a gym and work out and do your groove and get your thing, but just the over the past several years, that is what has gotten me up in the morning, knowing that there's certain people at the gym waiting for me to show up so they can get their workout in. Because for a lot of people, that's their mental wellness. We
Mm.
think of fitness just as for your body and what I look like and all of those things, but there's a huge mental capacity
Mm.
to it. And I saw that in my own life this week because 2 days I didn't go to the gym and they were not very productive
Mm.
days. I'm used to doing that early, but it's the people, the community. And I was like, man, these doors can't close. Like, I love these people.
That's awesome. So, what were the challenges that you faced in taking over an existing gym in Monument?
Um, the challenges. So, you know, fear of failure is probably the biggest one, to be
Mm.
honest,
Hmm.
because it's like, wow, this gym has been successful. It's been here. It has a huge core people that have been there for years. And it's, wow, what if they don't like your style? What if they don't like what you bring?
Hmm.
Because coaching and running a business are two different
Oh yeah,
things.
for sure.
And I'm still learning all of the time, but that really was my biggest thing was fear of failure. And so I had to sit down and have a really good conversation with the Lord about that.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, what I heard was you can't fail as long as you love my people.
Mm.
And so I'm just on a mission every day to meet people where they're at, and love them into loving themselves.
Mm. That's good.
Yeah.
So you're talking about your faith a little bit, and so how does your faith or philosophy play into building your business?
Mm,
I mean, you kind of touched on it just there, like to
yeah.
love people well, but how else is it playing into it?
Well, there's a lot of integrity, I think, that comes along with that. And, we're told that whatever we do it with all of our heart as if serving the Lord. And it is, some people are more challenging to love than others. Um,
Why you gotta blast me like that?
Not you, Uriah, not you. But some people are, they're set in their ways,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to thinking about health and fitness. Um, I already know what I need to do. I need,
Yeah.
and so sometimes it's kind of hard to come along some people and coach them. So really asking the Lord, all right, how can I speak to them in a way that's going to speak to them without them feeling like you're coming at them?
Mm-hmm.
Or how do you, for instance, a big objection that you get a lot of times in the health and wellness community is, I don't have time and it's too expensive.
Yeah.
And you have to find kind ways to have people look at, well, what will your life look like 5 years from now if nothing changes?
Mm.
Or, um, you know, if you took a look at your checkbook, where are you spending money that you could put in? Because I'm going to tell you, the honest truth is if you don't invest in your wellness now,
Mm-hmm.
you will be investing in your sickness later on down the road. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, because of all the things that we're exposed to all the time. So that's probably the biggest challenge, is finding ways to be patient and loving with people, but yet being firm
Mm-hmm.
and really sharing with them the realities of where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
Like when your kids are your age, will you be content if their health is where your health is right now?
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
What are you modeling for your kids? Whether
Yeah.
it's in your food choices, your fitness choices, when you're going to bed, um, just the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So you would say that, faith is probably a pretty intricate part of what it is that you're doing. It's not just, you know, an engine that powers you to do what you do. It's integrated into what you do.
Your spirituality totally is. I mean, we've all, if you're a non-believer, this probably isn't going to make sense
Mm-hmm.
to a non-believer, and that's not to put anyone down. We just
Right.
have different spiritual journeys. But as a believer, my body's a spirit, a temple of the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And in the temple back in the day, they only allowed certain things in because they didn't want the temple to be desecrated.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say that I don't ever make poor food
Right.
choices. I mean, I'm a human being.
Get
Come
a
on.
greasy burger every now and again.
Greasy burgers hurt my stomach too
Oh,
much,
okay.
but I can eat the whole pan of brownies. So, if we're real, I can't. It's going down. If the brownies are made, it's like everybody else needs to help eat this, because if you don't, it's not even taking days. Like for real, I'm gonna eat the pan of brownies. But it's not about perfection, but it is about those habits that are creating the best version of me,
Mm-hmm.
so that I can give the best version of me to my kids, to my spouse, to my community,
Yeah.
and set out on that purpose that the Lord has for me to go into all the world.
That's
So,
so good. So let me ask you this. So, what makes your gym different from any other gym? So, like, I mean, here in Colorado Springs, there's a couple big names out there, right?
mhm,
There's Vasa, there's Lifetime,
right,
and people pay an absurd amount of money to join a gym that they love or makes them feel a type of way, right?
right.
And I know you have some stuff to say about this, but what makes your gym different from joining one of the franchises or one of the other
Right.
branches?
Well, I think you just said it right there. We're not a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And so um, that gives me opportunity to pour into people the way they need to be poured
Mm,
into. And most of the time, you're going to catch me at the gym. It's not, some CEO or owner sitting up here that just has a big employee staff that's in there meeting with the people. Like, I want to know who's coming in.
mm,
I want to know where you're at. I want to know about you. I want to know your family. Because then you can best serve people and you can encourage them and you can help them in their own mindset
yeah.
the best that way. But another thing I think that sets us apart is the community. Like, we get together outside of the gym. If you come to the 4:30 class on a Friday, afterwards they're going to be going over to the Pikes Peak Brewery. I don't know what the new name is, but it's right behind us. And they go, and not everybody drinks,
Mm-hmm.
but everybody that is in that class, they go and they have fellowship together, and just they build up the community. We have a game night that's coming up, and several of us are going to play bunco,
Mm-hmm.
or we just did a Spartan race together. So it's not just in the studio walls. We extend beyond that, and you just see the way people love on each other. We had some unfortunate circumstances. We had a family in our gym that they were going through what I think is the worst thing, and that's watching your own child die.
Mm,
And the way those people just rallied around them and
mm,
supported them, donated money to help get treatments, and just you can't buy that.
mm,
You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
It's just something that is built into that community. So that's precious. And then there's what we have to offer as things on our menu in the
Mm-hmm.
gym. In terms, it's not just fitness. You're not just coming to a gym.
Yeah, what is that? So like I know you kind of touched on you got a background
Integrative
in
health.
integrative health
Mm-hmm.
and but it's not just a workout plan. It's not just like goals to get in the best shape of your life. You're doing way more than just that. What are those things?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, it's simple, but it's hard. So as an integrative health approach, you're really looking at the whole body and how everything functions together,
Mm-hmm.
right? So a lot of times when people are coming to the gym, let's be honest, it's not just, hey, I want to be strong. It's I want to look good. I want to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And there is that strong component. But I have so many people who have come in that have had nutrition plans, had fitness plans, and they're not seeing the changes that they want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And 80% of those changes actually happen in the kitchen, and only 20% happen in the gym. Now, the gym is a catalyst for that for sure, especially strength training.
Yeah.
Um, but it's that gut health and focusing there. So, helping people come in and talk through that. Like, so many people think they eat healthy,
Right.
but then when you start having them log what it is they're eating, or when you give them a nutrition guide, they're like, oh, mm,
Or just look at the back and find out what's in it. Like we were just
right.
discussing,
It is
discussing,
disgusting. When you see what's in there, it is
yeah,
disgusting.
but discussing like even wellness products,
Right,
right? Like and how some of these products that are out here on the market that people are taking, like huge following, like people are taking this thinking that this is going to change my life. I'm going to get in better shape. And it may be helping, right? Like
right,
I don't want to discredit,
right,
but there is some crap in there that isn't clean,
right,
isn't true wellness.
right.
Talk about that a little bit.
Okay. Um, yeah, so there are ingredients. So I want to hit on one, and this is a real personal note. So sucralose is a huge disruptor for your body, for your gut, for your hormones, for so many things. And our son just went through army training, and he is a huge energy drink person,
Mm-hmm.
and has been for a long time. And there's a couple things when you're looking at energy drinks. What kind of preservatives are in it? What kind of sweeteners are in it? Are the vitamins natural or synthetic? Like, all of those things play a role
Mm-hmm.
in that. But he was going on to his next level of training when he had completed, and he was doing a routine medical examination. And on his EKG, they found irregularities in his heart. Now, the scary part isn't that there was irregularities. The scary part is he was asymptomatic.
Mm-hmm.
So he had no idea these detrimental things were going on with his heart. And he ended up having to have a heart surgery before he could go on to the next level. So, sometimes we think, oh, this isn't affecting me. It's not impacting me, until you end up with tons of gallstones, or until you end up with a heart surgery you weren't planning for, that
Mm-hmm.
you would have never known about had it
Mm-hmm.
not been for a medical routine checkup. Um, so that's that aspect of it. But really, people need to look at their ingredients. They need to know. And most people don't know. And there's certain apps out there, like Think Dirty is a really good app for helping you to understand what are some of the dangerous chemicals that we're putting into our body that have
Yeah.
been deemed safe.
Yeah. Well, and I think recently with the big red epidemic, right? The red dye and like
Yes.
that whole, I think it has brought some awareness to what it is that we're putting in our body. But
Right.
these big corporations, they're pretty sly. They're pretty slick. They'll advertise and say marketing is crazy. you
Right.
know? And so, yeah, taking into account what it is that you are putting into your body. And yeah, I mean, to your point, I'm of faith too. Like our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, and making sure that we're honoring it in that way.
Right.
That's hard to do sometimes, and if you're not of faith, you just don't have that on your radar. How this is a pretty intense one here. How do you motivate people who don't have time? You know what I'm saying? I get this question all the time in my business is like, I don't have time for a podcast. I don't have time for filming. We're in a society where busyness is a god, is an idol.
Right. Right.
So speak to that. Like even me, like I don't have time to go hit the gym, right? Like so what would you say there?
Okay. Well, it's kind of a two-part thing, right? Because some people don't know what to do. They just don't, I don't know what to do for fitness. So that's in our type of gym, especially, that's what they come for. Like,
Mm,
am I doing it right? What am I doing? So they come and they get all of that guidance. But I would challenge the time because you know what? We make time for things that are important to us. And I would relate it back to an identity issue, really, in the end. Like, it's people not seeing themselves as valuable enough
mm,
to take care of themselves, and this is one of those areas, right, where we have to be real gentle how we're talking to someone, like, um because you want to be straightforward. Everybody has time.
mm-hmm,
How long do you sit on the toilet scrolling on your phone? How
mm-hmm,
many times do you get up in the morning and lay in bed scrolling your phone before you get out of bed? And it's not just the phone, it's other things,
mm-hmm,
right? I hear people talk about, hey, I'm looking for a new series to watch on TV.
mm-hmm.
Well, how long is an episode?
Yeah.
If you can't make it to the gym, stand up and do some squats while you're watching your
Mm-hmm,
episode. If it is important to you,
mm-hmm,
you will find a way to make it happen. Time is not the issue.
mm, mm. That's
Think
good.
back, like when you're first dating someone, right?
Yeah.
You don't have time then either, but
Right.
you make that
Make
time, right?
make
You're
the
like,
time.
when does Julie, like, when
Yeah.
does Julie get done? Okay,
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna, make that time to, even if it's only 30 minutes,
Right.
right? Only
Right.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know how much of a good workout you can get in 30 minutes,
Yeah.
I know one of the things I used to do when my kids were busy, we had four at one time, in the house. And so you're constantly shuffling and juggling.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally get all of that. But while my daughter was at soccer practice, Ryan, he was littler, so he would play on the swing set, and I would do sprints across the field. At the end of the field, I'd just do some push ups, some squats, whatever. Might do walking lunges back across the field. But, in 20 minutes, you can get a lot accomplished.
Yeah.
But again, it goes back to seeing yourself as valuable
Yeah.
and, trying to be the best version of you that you can.
And I think too, like some people, would say to that, like, "Oh, I don't have the energy to do that." Like, good job, you can do it. But this relates back to gut, right?
It
Like,
does.
what are we putting into our body?
Right.
Why do we feel like we don't have energy? Like our bodies are crazy capable.
Oh my goodness.
Like,
They were designed for longevity too. This whole, oh, I'm 40, this is how I'm supposed to feel. It might be common, but it is not normal.
mm, yeah. So like reevaluating that, like, well, yeah, you don't have the energy, but what was in that McDonald's Big Mac you just ate?
Right.
Like stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's really interesting. And so we're gonna kind of shift into Bravenly
Okay.
a little bit, and you've brought some products today, and I'm drinking the fresh lemonade here. Super.
Drinking the Kool-Aid. I got
Yeah, I'm
drinking the
drinking the
Kool-Aid, you
Kool-Aid.
guys.
No, this is super good. Like I'm surprised how good it is. It's got really good taste. But yeah, how did you get connected with Bravenly?
That's a fantastic question because I wasn't looking for a new supplement line. As an integrative health practitioner, I already had a line of products that I was using, and they're really good, and I will still use some of those products. But one day, one of the gals came into the gym, and she had previously asked me for a nutrition plan, like, "Hey, I want to tone up and shred out a little bit, and blah blah blah." And so I gave her a plan, And she just hadn't been using it, hadn't been, like, oh, I'm busy, that
Mm-hmm.
I'm too
Yeah,
busy.
yeah.
I don't have the time to plan
Grocery
my
shop and
meals
do all the
and do
things.
all
Yeah.
of the things that would require. And, she's pretty healthy anyway. So it's not like her nutrition was really far off. And she was gone for a few weeks during the summer, and she came back, and I was like, girl, like you are looking so like leaned out in tone. Are you finally doing, that nutrition plan? She's like, no. I was like, oh, okay. Not that it doesn't work, but
Right.
I,
Right.
I mean, the honesty is we do live in a society where we want the path of least resistance,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so someone had introduced her to Bravenly, and she had started using just a couple of the products, and they just really target supporting your body using its fat for energy and things like that. And I was like, I need to take a look at this. And all I had to do was look at the ingredients, and I was like, mm-hmm. I was like already on board. And these were things that I was individually recommending for people to use.
Already packaged.
But Bravenly, because they have naturopathic doctors that are formulating this, and what do they
Mm-hmm.
formulate? They formulate functional medicine. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what this is. It's
Yeah.
functional medicine. And so when I looked at it, I was like, wow, like if you take Fit Fuel, this is, it's not just called protein, it's called Fit Fuel for a reason because it targets so many systems in
Mm-hmm.
your body between enzymes, prebiotics, probiotics, collagen for your hair, skin, and nails, just so many things in one package. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, wow, I absolutely love that. And so, and like you said, I took a drink and I was like, wow, this stuff tastes amazing.
Yeah.
And
It's not like, other supplements, I feel.
yeah,
At least the lemonade.
right,
Um, I'll try
right.
some others here, but so what's your favorite product that you
Oh,
use on a regular basis? Your like go-to, daily go-to.
wow. That is really hard because there's a handful of them.
Hmm.
And one is the Fit Fuel because it's quick, it's easy. What I didn't mention is that it delivers all your daily vitamins, and in liquid format, your body just absorbs them quicker. Your ladies are always looking for beauty, right? Like I want the best skincare, I want whatever, and that all starts in your gut.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying that, don't go get your facials or any of that, but if you want the best results, if you combine good gut health with that. So I love the Bravenly Fit Fuel. I've just seen a change in my own skin, the way that I feel. But for me, at 51 and being, menopausal,
Hmm.
this drive right here,
Okay.
okay, this is hormone support. So it's not hormone replacement, but it has a lot of herbs and stuff in it that actually support your body's natural production of hormones.
Yeah.
And so my night sweats, like flipping the covers off, putting the covers on,
Yeah.
tossing and turning. Oh my gosh, my hips hurt on this side. Oh, I got to go to this
Yeah.
side. So for me, those things have gone away. And
So hormonal support. This is a big topic of conversation right
right,
now. Like across all platforms here.
right. And
For
people
men,
spend a lot of money on hormone
yeah,
replacement.
for men and women too.
Right,
And so when you say hormone support, it's not like you're like you said replacing
right.
hormones. You're actually utilizing the hormones that are already naturally in your body and just boosting them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what people don't understand is, like you and I were talking about earlier, like your gut is your brain of your body.
Mm-hmm.
And when your gut microbiome is off and you're not absorbing minerals and vitamins and all of the things that
Mm-hmm.
your body needs, you can't make hormones in your body, and your body starts robbing other parts of those minerals and stuff from other parts of your body, and we just start getting these other issues that
Yeah.
go along. And so if we start with the gut, that's why I say like the Fit Fuel, even the balance, really supports that good gut health,
Yeah.
and you're directly supporting things that feed your hormones,
Right.
then you just see a shift, and you see women's cycles get back on track. And this isn't just for women, like
Right.
men are taking this
Yeah.
too, especially before workouts,
Yeah.
like boosting that testosterone. So
Instead of
combining,
taking TRT, you can
right,
just support your testosterone
right,
and be functional. So you said something just a minute ago when you were talking about gut health here. Micro
Microbiome.
What is that for people that don't know?
Right. So your gut needs prebiotics and probiotics. Like you have more bacteria cells in your body than you do human cells, which is hard to fathom, right?
Hmm.
Because this is so many cells. Um, and there's good bacteria and there's bad bacteria. And when that bad bacteria outweighs the good bacteria, we start getting all of these diseases, like
Hmm.
different things that are
Yeah.
happening in our body. You start
Mishaps.
talking about
Yeah.
autoimmune things. So, a lot of that stuff you can really come in and support just by focusing on good health.
That's interesting.
And yet, oftentimes we're told, I have no idea what's wrong. I don't know. I had this weird skin rash that was really all over it was kind of embarrassing, because I'm like a sun goddess. I just love being out there at the
Yeah.
track. And one day, one gal in the gym, she said to me, she's like, wow, you got a little bit too much sun, huh? All this peeling going on. And I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is. But it was really just the skin thing. So, like starting at my scapula and working up and around to my chest, it was like my skin was becoming discolored and white, and it did look like people
Yeah.
were peeling. And I had been to the dermatologist, I had been to all kinds of doctors, and none of them knew what it was.
Yeah.
And I got into the integrative health and started taking care of my gut.
Uh-huh.
I don't have it
It's
anymore.
gone.
It's gone. I didn't do anything else. But it also shows you how, we think something as small as an appendix isn't important. But I had my appendix out,
Mm.
and we're told it doesn't really have a big function. But that's where a lot of your probiotic support is made.
Mm.
And so now we go back to gut, and now I can see why that happened. And it happened to be after I had my appendix out.
Dang.
So, just things that until you really get in, the human body is so amazing,
Right.
and it is designed to repair itself
Yeah.
if we feed it well,
Right.
you
That's
know.
so good. So how do you coach people through nutrition and gut health and these things? Like what's your main way of coaching people through?
Right. So if they come on and they're looking for that kind of guidance, like, I want to feel better. I want to sleep better. I'm achy. I've got this inflammation.
Hmm.
Nutrition is always where I start.
Hmm.
Um, because like we said, it goes back to the gut. And so they get a nutrition guide. And a nutrition guide isn't unique to anyone. A lot of times we want to talk about macros and calories and this, that, and whatever. And I'm not saying those things don't matter. But at the end of the day, you and I can be putting the same amount of calories in, but the quality of the calories is what's going to make the difference.
Hmm.
If I'm just eating protein bars all the time and French fries and, oh, here's my points that I'm allowed for the day, what is the quality of those points? So it's really about teaching people how to use functional medicine, which is food,
Hmm.
to regulate their bodies. And I use a hand diagram
Hmm.
for, teaching people how to eat according to their hand.
Mm.
And it's real simple. Have you ever been on a plan and you've been like, oh my gosh, this is so cumbersome. I got to log
Yeah.
everything I'm eating. I got to,
Yeah.
put my food in my app, do my
Yeah.
thing. And some people thrive off of that. But
Right.
what I've seen with the general population is that's not most
Yeah.
people.
People get overwhelmed and they're
They
like, I'm
do, and
done.
then they quit
Yeah.
and they don't do it anymore. So I give them a guide. These are the foods for this. And if it's a woman, you have to eat according to your cycle. There's a reason we become a monster that week before
What?
the cycle.
Really? Are you serious?
Yeah. Because we're not feeding it right,
Yeah.
especially these people that go on these low carb diets. Now, there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with low carb,
Right.
but you have to know when to do it.
Right.
So that's really what I'm in the business of doing, is teaching people how to look at their bodies, how to listen to their bodies. We do strip things down, but then it's like, okay, I want you to reintroduce this. Pay attention for the next 3 days, what that's like. How's that affecting your body? Oh, now you've got inflammation. Okay, then that's not something your body can handle.
Mm.
So let's not have that. So
Yeah.
it's not a just one time, all right, here's your plan, we're done. We're
Right.
going to look at it weekly. All right, how you doing? Where are you struggling? What's your water intake like?
Yeah.
People really underestimate hydration for their body.
So how do these two things come together? Like I know you have the gym, you have Bravenly. Is it something to where they can come into the gym here locally and grab some Bravenly and get a quick workout in?
Right.
Like,
So I don't carry inventory.
okay.
That's a lot of overhead
Yeah,
to
for
do
sure.
that. But there's opportunities for them to get their own subscription. And it doesn't even have to be a subscription. You can try it out one time, get a discount. Most people come back because they're seeing the results. And if people aren't seeing results, it's because they haven't given things time. And that's one of the things I really talk about with people a lot is you can't just do something for a month and expect to see big bang
No
results.
quick fix.
And everybody's body is different. So one person who might lose, 10 pounds in 1 month might have something different than someone else. If someone has a lot of inflammation going on and we fix that inflammation, you won't see a huge scale change, but you will see a body composition change. So, no, you can't just walk in and get
Okay.
it. Go back to your question, sorry.
Yeah.
You can't just walk in and get it, but you can just walk in and get a consult with me, and we will sit down and I will make recommendations. Um, and we use these as helpers. Our food supply is not what our food supply used to be. I eat pretty dang healthy and I still have deficiencies. So that's why we supplement.
I went to the doctor just the other day. I got some varicose vein action going on and stuff like that. And something I didn't know, but everybody in Colorado is vitamin D deficient. And I didn't know that. Like, I didn't
Can I
know.
tell you a
Yeah.
secret?
Yeah.
It's not just people in Colorado.
Mm.
It's a huge percentage of the population is vitamin D deficient.
Yeah. So why is that? What is, my PCP couldn't really tell me, exactly what the root causes are, but what is some of that?
Well, number one, we're not eating the foods that have vitamin D. Let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
Your prepackaged stuff isn't going to have it. And a lot of times, even if it does, it's fortified, right? So we look at these cereals that are fortified with vitamins. They're not real vitamins,
Right.
most of them.
Right.
And so your body doesn't absorb that and utilize it as well. And again, it goes back to that gut and how things are functioning. Like if your enzymes are off or your gallbladder's not functioning well, maybe you've got a bile duct that's not as flowy as it should be. Do you remember in school when you do those baking soda and vinegar
Mm-hmm.
projects,
Yeah.
and it just all combusts?
Explodes. Yeah.
Right. So that is what happens in our gut. So if you have portions of your gut that are off, which can be off because we're not feeding it well,
Right.
then your body's not able to have that explosion that
Mm-hmm.
goes on so that you can actually get the vitamins and minerals out of your food.
Mm.
Also, people don't spend as much time outside. If we
Right.
do, what are we doing? We're slathering our bodies in toxic sunblock
Mm-hmm.
and preventing us from being able to absorb
And get what we need.
what we need from the sun.
Yeah.
So um, we I'm not saying you don't need to protect yourself from the sun.
Right.
You do need to take precautions. Um, but in this integrative health thing, it's not just about nutrition, whatever. I talk about all kinds of toxins.
Yeah.
And a lot of your sunblocks have very toxic chemicals that are in them as well. So,
Yeah. It's good to know.
and this is a cool thing. Let me tell you about sunblock a little bit. Your eyes
Mm-hmm.
let the rest of your body know, like it knows when the sunlight's out and it knows how much it needs to protect itself through that. So when we wear sunglasses and things like that, we're actually inhibiting that function of our body to be able to do what it was designed to do.
Wild. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
They're kind of like how fish under the sea, you know, their eyes can help them, guide them, and
Yeah.
change, and
Yeah.
that's crazy.
But we do need to protect our
Yeah,
eyes
for
too.
sure,
Let's be
for sure.
real, but
Yeah,
just little
but you can
tidbits.
definitely overcompensate.
Right. Like if you're driving, I mean you're not getting all of those UV
Right.
rays anyway. So wear your sunglasses while you drive.
Yeah.
Protect your eyes.
Yeah,
But if you're out in the sun, put a ball cap on.
Yeah.
Because then your body can still see
right.
how bright it is and things like that.
That's wild. That's super, super helpful to know. Let's pivot a little bit
Okay.
into entrepreneurship.
Oh.
And I'll start with the big one.
Yeah.
What's the biggest lesson that you've learned as a business owner? Because you're pretty much operating two businesses here.
Right.
Like, let's be honest, between Bravenly and the Full 30 Fit, right?
Right.
So what is one or two of the biggest lessons that you've learned in being a business owner?
You don't just grow overnight. Like anything,
Say that again.
you don't just grow overnight, just like your body doesn't change overnight.
Mm,
Um, and I'm sure for some people it comes more naturally than others. But I've really had to learn, and I have an MBA
hmm
from many decades ago, but you know, and what you learn in school is totally different than what the reality of owning a business is like. But it's
mm,
hard, it's hard work,
hmm
and not everyone wants to see you succeed.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of time. You do get to be your own boss,
hmm
meaning you get to make decisions. With the gym, it's a little bit different than Bravenly. With the gym, you know, we have a schedule, and if
Right.
I'm coaching classes, then it's not like if I don't have a coach for those classes and I'm coaching the classes, it's not like I can just say, oh, well, I'm setting my hours today, you know,
Right.
I'm not going to be here. But with Bravenly, it's nice because it is a lot of work, but I do get to choose which hours I do that kind of work.
hmm
So it's kind of dual dynamic, like you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's just the biggest challenge. It doesn't happen. It doesn't grow overnight, and you have to be consistent, just like
hmm
anything else.
hmm
If you want to see things grow and things to get better, and you have to put your pride aside. Like you have to learn to ask for help in the areas that you need help. I'm not a master marketer.
hmm
You know, that's where you come in. Um, and so you need help with those things that you're not good at, and just being willing to say that I can't do this all myself.
Yeah. There's something to community,
Yeah.
and we need each other, you know.
Hmm.
That's really good. How do you balance two businesses, family life, all the things? Like, is it balance?
I was going to say balance. What's that?
Yeah, like what how do you function? I guess would be the better question. How does it
Right.
happen?
Well, remember what I talked about earlier was priorities. The things that are important to you, you will make time for. And I actually just had a situation a couple weeks ago. Prior to taking over the gym, I was a stay-at-home mom for many years, and I would get the gals together out at the park, and we would just exercise and stuff like that. But prior to this, I was the one taking Ryan to all his motocross stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and just used to being so integral and part of that. And since taking over ownership of the gym, I haven't been able to be as involved. And sometimes that's a big hit for my heart, especially since that he was 16, so we were in those last 2 years of school, where he's working on his independence, and I'm working on he's my baby
Mm-hmm.
of the four, working on letting him have that independence. So it kind of forced him to get to have that independence that young men want to have, making their decisions and
Mm-hmm.
doing their thing. Um, but he had a qualifying race a couple weekends ago, and I was like, guys, the gym needs somebody there to work the classes.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to make sure that happens. And so, um, I went and worked that class, and on a last minute whim, I said, you know what? I'm not missing my kids' thing. It is that important to me. I'm going to find the money, I'm going to find the time, and I'm going to go. And that's exactly what I did.
Mm.
So, it is finding that balance. The things that are important to you, you will find a way. So, the gym, the community was important enough to me that I wasn't willing to close the doors. But my kid was also important enough to me that I wasn't willing to miss that race.
So you're telling me that there is such thing as a both and.
There is a such thing.
It's not just black and white all the time.
No,
It's not, and that's probably a shock to some people because
right.
they've lived their whole lives, black, white. How important is it to give yourself grace
Oh my goodness.
in the workout, in the business, and all this stuff?
You guys, none of us are perfect. We are never going to be perfect. And with my growing up insecurities, I've always had this perfectionism mentality about everything, and I've had to shift that. And so one of the best quotes that I ever heard is done is better than perfect.
Mhm.
So if I go to a workout, I'm at the workout. Was it my best workout? Maybe, maybe not, but I was there and I feel better when I'm done regardless.
Mm.
Um, or, you know, social media, having to
Mhm.
get that post out. I can be an overthinker. Oh, well, what if I'm saying the wrong thing?
Mhm.
What if I forget something? What if? And it's paralyzed me. And so I've had to learn, you know what? It's okay.
Yeah.
Give yourself grace,
Mhm.
and move on
Mm.
and just be you
Mm.
and let it be instead of being maybe who the people want you to be.
Mm. That's so good. That's powerful right there. Um, okay, so there's probably a bunch of people watching this and they've been wanting to start something on their own.
Right.
They've been wanting to get out of their shell, get out of their 9 to 5 that's been draining them. Um, what would you tell somebody right now that's feeling stuck? Maybe it's fear.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's resources. Whatever it is, what would you tell somebody that's looking to become that entrepreneur, to become that small business owner? What would you tell them right now?
Move, do it. Quit waiting. Each day you wait, you're wasting time at being where you want to be.
Mm.
We're not guaranteed tomorrow. And this is what I've learned is somebody needs what I have
Mm.
and somebody needs what you have. And so quit waiting, just do it. Nothing will push you to action more than just jumping in and getting going
Mm.
because then you have to do it.
Mm-hmm. But I want to have it all together first. I want to know, all the
What
things.
does all
Like,
together mean?
mm.
What are all the things?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you don't know what you don't know, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And there is fear. I shared that at the beginning,
Yeah.
and I still don't have it all right.
Right.
Are there days where I'm like, man, I could really throw in the towel? I go back and remember my purpose. So my other thing would be you write your goals down.
Mm.
It makes a difference when you have them written down and you see them in front of your face. And I heard, I was listening to Mel Robbins the other day. I like a lot of her stuff, but she said, start with the end in mind.
Mm.
And she says, not talking about necessarily how much money you want to have or whatever, but what kind of impact do you want to have?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, rapid fire.
Oh
Ready?
gosh.
Are you
Okay.
ready?
Okay. Okay.
This is the good stuff.
Uh,
Favorite post-meal workout?
Favorite post meal workout?
Yep.
Right now, it's been the Fit Fuel because those amino acids and the vitamins and protein are getting back into my body right away.
Awesome. Dream collab brand to
Dream
work with.
collab brand to
Yeah,
work with.
whoever you could work with, whatever brand it was, what brand would it be?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Bravenly, I'm
Raven.
doing it. I'm doing it.
There you
It
go.
fits. Everything about them fits with who I am.
There
They're,
you go.
I'm just aligned with them.
That's good. That's good. Okay, a book that's changed your mindset.
Okay, I have two. I've
Okay.
got two. Okay, one is from a health and wellness, and one is from a business standpoint. From the health and wellness standpoint, it is The Rain Barrel by Dr. Stephen Cabral because it really teaches you about your body and taking that big look and how easy it is to fix things and how important it is.
Mm.
The second one, I just mentioned Mel Robbins, but her whole let them, going back
Mm.
to, oh, I'm afraid what people think, or, oh my gosh, you're in a network marketing company.
Mm.
Who cares? At the end of the day, I'm the one who has to pay my bills.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm the one who's out there. And while it may not be a way that you necessarily agree with, I'm having an impact on people's lives. I'm seeing them get healthy.
Mm.
I'm seeing their mindsets changed. I'm seeing people going from barely being able to walk to, oh my gosh, just living their best life.
Mm.
So if I was still worried about what everyone else thought, I wouldn't get to see those things.
Mm. That's awesome. All right. Best advice you've ever received.
I think I shared that
Yeah.
already was, hey, done is better than perfect.
Mm.
Just move.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, how can people get in touch with you if they're curious about Bravenly or they want to join Full 30 Fit?
Right.
what's the best way that they can contact you?
That's a great question. So, first of all, I want to say number one, if you're not local, that does not mean you cannot work with me. Okay.
Mm,
You may not be able to come to my gym,
mm,
but we can work together and get a good plan for you. Number two, follow on Full 30 Fit,
mm-hmm.
both Facebook, Instagram. We are there. For my personal stuff with Bravenly, I'm at Denise Hadley Wellness on Instagram and Denise Bowling Hadley on Facebook. And you can always get in touch with me through full30fit.com. There's a phone number, there's an email, all of it's right there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This has been good.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
yeah. Go follow her, guys. Don't be hesitant to reach out with any questions that you have around gut health, around fitness, around mental health. Reach out to her, and thank you guys so much for watching.
Yeah. Thank you.